Immigrant Male in Philadelphia in 1890 by Shauna McLean in Social Work 305. This is the final presentation. My grandparents were potato farmers that lived and worked on a farm in Ireland, in a little city called Navan. My parents grew up on the farm, but became gold miners looking for wealth and success after a large famine struck the land. Because so many people were affected by this famine, many turned to ironwork or gold mining, with many having no luck in finding work or be able to support and feed their families. My mother raised 13 children alone after my father died in a mining accident in 1886. 7 of her children left to America in 1890, never seeing them again. My mother instilled good qualities in us, children, that have been passed down through generations. A wonderful smile of sincere welcoming was my mother. Our home was always open to anyone and was always greeted with a meal. After the passing of my father, the 3 oldest male children, including me, stepped up to be the providers, working hard and going to school to get an education. My 2 brothers and I decided to open a family-owned business, a small convenience store which eventually grew into the town's most popular food market. My current family structure after arriving to the United States consisted of my 2 brothers with their 2 wives. Each of them had 1 child. But along the way, one of the children passed away on the ship due to some sort of horrible sickness. The baby had a fever and passed away the 7th. This was a very tough time for my loved ones. We and us siblings tried our best at comforting them at the loss of their child, but I can remember many nights laying awake listening to them crying and sobbing. My 4 younger sisters also came along to the U.S. They were for sure that they would arrive in the U.S., find their perfect husbands right away, and hopefully gain citizenship and start a family of their own. We arrived in Philadelphia in 1890. There were thousands of people cramming on the ship and trying to get off the ship. A few people even fell into the water, trying to maneuver around people. Me and my brothers laughed and got a rise out of this, but hopefully no one was really injured. My health status when we arrived in 1890, I was 22-year-old, 5 foot 11 inches, 170-pound male. I didn't have any known ailments, and my overall health was pretty good. I didn't get sick often, and there are no known family history of cancers or disease in my family. I'm strong, and I'm able to work for that anything I can. And I hopefully can provide for my siblings and get on our feet. My education and employment consists of a level I completed the required studies along with all my siblings through the grade 12. My mother was stern on wanting us to learn and be smart so we could be successful. I also thought maybe she just really enjoyed the peace and quiet when all of us 7 children would leave for school. 13 children would leave for school. That was when she was able to complete her daily tasks without interruptions. She always greeted us with a smile and hug when arrived back home. My mother was very kind and loving. By means of employment, my brothers and I ended up selling our family market to try to come up to the U.S. and start a business. We have heard there is much opportunity in doing so. Our religious affiliation, our family grew up Catholic. A characteristic of my family was our deep faith, and the rosary was our lifeline. We are prayerful, religious, God-loving people, and we have faith He will see us through, and we pray to Mother Mary that we will succeed in our endeavors here in the United States. I believe our hope and our faith will see us through. The overview of social, political, and economic landscape of the time period in the 1890s and how they impacted us was the age of immigration was from 1890 to 1899. There were so many push factors that forced people to leave their homeland. Some of these were war, famine, like our potato farms were not producing enough food to feed our family, so we suffered and went hungry a lot of the nights. There were religious and political intolerance. We weren't allowed to practice our religious in the open. There was not many jobs. This is why we opened our family market with the little bit of fortune we had left from our dad. We couldn't own land in Ireland, so there were better opportunities in the U.S., and there were not very many education opportunities, and all of us would like to expand our knowledge. The pull factors to bring people to America are: we heard that there was plentiful jobs. There was also religious, political freedom, education opportunities, abundant, inexpensive land, and abundant food. On June 2nd, 1890, after the abundant food, Philadelphia became a home for immigrants fleeing political turmoil, prosecution, and drastic poverty. In 1890, the largest groups of immigrants was Irish, numbering 110,935, or 41% of foreign-born population. And on June 2nd, 1890, census indicates a population in the United States at 62,979,766, an increase of 25.5% since the 1880 census. This was retrieved from the America's Best History. And in the article of Emergence of Modern America states that the problem in the nation in the late 19th century led to the rise of the progression movement. This was most focused on problems like rapid industrialization, increased immigration, urbanization, and corrupt business and politics. This was a good thing for our family, I believe, because it could help us be successful here in the U.S. Me today, Excuse me, sorry. My descendant today is Jimmy Mack Sr. He's a father of 4 children. And at the age of 65, he is one, along with his brother, owners of one of the most largest grocery stores in the United States. This family was successful. with their endeavors here in the U.S. They worked hard and had faith and ended up being successful in the end. References. And that's the end. Thank you for listening.